Steve, I think your mic is muted.
You know, I always do that, and I am so sorry. So let's try this again. Fate, take two. I'm Steve Parmley. I'm your commander. We are joined tonight by two special guests. We'll introduce them. We have Tai Phoenix of TrekTheVote.com. They are a organization of Trekkies and actors trying to do get people to get out, bipartisan, get out and actually vote, get everybody involved in any way possible. And we are also joined by Chase Masterson, who played Lita. I think it was, right? Yeah, Lita. See, my daughter's going to hit me for that. From Star Trek Deep Space Nine. We are also joined with board of directors members, Cory Grant. And first, for a long time, Wayne Augustson. Good to see you finally, sir.
Good evening, Region 7. Good evening, Starfleet.
We also have our brother from across the pond, John Hardy, who's a frequent person from New England. Welcome, sir. And, of course, last but not least, my favorite person is Victoria. Hello, Victoria. And hello, Drew. Hello, Victoria.
Hi.
Hi. So welcome, everybody, to the Trek After Dark. We are glad to have them, and we're going to let them talk about what they got going on, and we're going to play a video for everybody. So, ma'am, the floor is yours.
I assume by ma'am you meant me.
Yes, ma'am.
My name is Tai Phoenix, and I am the founder, not that kind, of Trek the Vote. We are a nonpartisan network of Star Trek fans, actors, and creators working together to ensure that this upcoming election is fair and equitable. And what we mean when we say fair and equitable is that every eligible American will be able to vote easily and safely, and that every ballot cast is rigorously validated and scrupulously counted before any results are certified or announced. That is it. That is what we are working to do. We have several 501c3 partners, again, all nonpartisan, who are working on everything from recruiting poll workers to doing information, to doing nonpartisan get out the vote efforts, to monitoring for voter suppression or intimidation taking place at the polls. And we have Starfleet officers signed up now in all 50 states, over 1,000 Starfleet officers signed up to participate as volunteers. So this is in addition to getting Trekkies to vote. We want Trekkies to help other people vote, because that's the spirit of Starfleet.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am. So, yes, everybody, you guys are bombarding me in my private Facebook messages. Yes, I promise you that is Chase Masterson. It's not a double. You guys are literally flipping out like she's not real. Yes, this is Chase. See, she's real.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me, Steve and team. And I just want to say what an honor it is to be here with all of you tonight, especially for such a truly Star Trek type of initiative. When Tai told me about this, I wanted to jump on board right away, because I think we can all agree that Star Trek has always stood for inclusion and for justice. And there are different things, different points of view going around the country about what justice is. But I think one thing that we can all agree to and relate to, understand, and stand for is that our votes should be counted, that every American has the right to cast a vote and to have to vote once and to vote in a way that their vote will be recognized and counted. And that's what we really want to stand behind, that as a solid, standalone, nonpartisan initiative. And it's so exciting to see what Tai has put together. It's actually at trekThe.vote. So there's no .com. It's trekThe.vote.
Yeah.
You can trekthevote.com actually redirects to it, so it's all good either way. But don't worry about it. I really appreciate it. So careful.
Okay. Well, bottom line is, it really is such an honorable project and such a wonderful way for us to show our fandom is, and that includes mine, is to stand together for something that I know that Gene Roddenberry would stand for, which is justice. And that is the American people getting to have our voices heard. And I just couldn't be prouder to be in this initiative. And I can't wait for you all to see this video. It's a series of videos. And then it will include a call to action on how you can get involved.
Thank you, guys. And like I said, I know a lot of people, you were sending me messages. This is not Starfleet or Trek the Vote telling you to vote Republican or vote Democrat. They're saying to get out and exercise your constitutional right to vote. Myself, we have a lot of members in SFI that are veterans. Drew is a veteran. I am too. We got out there to fight for your right to actually use your constitutional rights. So we encourage you guys to get out there and do vote. So this is nonpartisan. And it's a great thing. I've signed up for it. I know a lot of people have actually already started signing up for it. I'm going to play a video real quick and let you guys see this, and we'll be right back.
Hello? I can barely see you. Let me just clear up the front interference. Ah, there you are. Listen, I wish we could catch up for a moment, but we really don't have much time. The crew and I need your help.
There's been an outbreak of novel coronavirus on Earth. Starfleet is monitoring troubling disruptions in many key systems, including the smooth functioning of democracy itself.
It is of paramount importance to the Federation that the election scheduled to take place on November 3rd is fair and equitable.
Unfortunately, many of the organizations that normally make elections run smoothly are rather short-term this year.
And there are those without honor who may try to prevent certain groups of citizens from intimidation or by other means.
If there's one thing I've learned from being around these Federation types all these years, it's the importance of every eligible vote you cast.
That's why Starfleet and our allies have been asked to activate at least 16,000 members across the United States to participate in nonpartisan activities, watching the voter outreach before, during, and after November 3rd.
We need your help. So navigate to trekthevote.com and provide Starfleet Command with some basic details with your availability for service.
We'll get a confirmation briefing back in just a few minutes.
The future depends on what we do in the next year. We need all the help we can get.
I know I can count on you.
I'm Irish Demon Bear. I approve this message.
Good job, Tai. Thank you for doing this. Thank you.
Tai, was there another video you wanted me to show?
There are actually 2 more videos, but folks can go to trekThe.vote and watch them. You get to see the second one. There's one that tells you all about the different volunteer opportunities, and then there's one you get to see only after you sign up, which I think is actually the best of the 3. Although there is, if you do go watch the second one, that Chase has a line about Ractagino and tube grubs, and the first time that that was not what I wrote in the script. The first time she sent it, I literally did it like a spit take. I had to turn my head to not get my computer messed up. It was so funny. So it was, we had a good time doing it.
up until, I guess, up until the coronavirus, nobody before me had actually ever thought about getting the organization like this put together, or getting the communication out like we have. And granted, the coronavirus is probably, I don't know anybody still alive now that's lived through the last pandemic. But this, as a nation, I feel has brought it closer together. But as Trek fans and members of Starfleet, I feel like it's got us brought closer together because we interact with people from all over the globe. I mean, look, we actually have two celebrities here that come on to talk about this. And, it's an important thing that when November 3rd, everybody gets out there and does their vote. It's definitely not something to be taken lightly. Now, if you cast your vote, and like they said, if you cast your vote, and if you can, the other people is going to be standing in lines, because these lines are going to be so long because of the social distancing. Go out and give water to somebody. Be polite. Be helpful, and like Tay said. Or excuse me, it was Chase that said that. But Gene Roddenberry, we are all part of Star Trek. I mean, without Star Trek, without the fans, it wouldn't be Star Trek. So, I mean, we're all in this, and this is something that we really need to get out and vote on.
Absolutely. I want to say that Starfleet is a huge reason that I fell in love with Star Trek. I remember going to a series of conventions way back in the 90s when our show was on first run. And I would go to a little convention in a small town or a big one in a big city. And inevitably, there would be Starfleet there saying, we raised this money for your charity, or for this charity, will you help us raise more? And there were Klingon bake sales, and there were Starfleet car washes, and all of these things that really, truly showed your hearts being so beautiful and so in line with what Roddenberry meant for this show to be. And so I see this as the next practical step in ensuring democracy, which we can all agree on. And where the tube grubs come in, just to tell you, is as Steve so beautifully said, you can do things that are so easy that will help someone bring some tube grubs and arachnogeno to people who are waiting in line. And by that, we mean pizza and water, or crackers and water, or something, just to show people that their presence is important, and that they can, in fact, stick it out until they get to the front of the line, just to show solidarity, to show kindness. And, just by doing that, you are working out, you are being a Starfleet hero. You're doing that in action. So I also just want to say quickly, Steve, and you had said someone else there, thank you for your service. It's so important that we recognize that many lives have been lost in working for democracy. So our part is voting and making sure others can vote safely and that their votes are counted.
Exactly. I think for me, my efforts in this domain for years around advocacy, around service, around being involved with something larger than myself have come from my Star Trek fandom. It is very much a place where that moral compass has lived for me. And so it's amazing to be part of that arc, that tradition of Trekkies getting involved and doing the right thing by our fellow human beings. And one of our partners, Fair Count, which was founded by Stacey Abrams, is one of the programs that they have folks doing is handing out food and water to people waiting in line, particularly in the state of Georgia, but also in several other states in the South and in the Southwest. And for those of you who have kids who want to get involved, that is a perfect there's a perfect thing to do. We welcome, let's see, officers as young as 8 with careful supervision from a superior officer. They participate in handing out food and water to people waiting in line. So it's a great way to get the kids involved.
So, Tay, tell us how you actually got involved with wanting to do this, and how has it all come around?
Well, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, and we were just lamenting how mean-spirited and polarized things have become, and also how how specifically certain groups of people have been targeted for intimidation or suppression of the vote. And I just said, God, I wish Starfleet could just beam down and give us a reality check and protect people and like just try to, make the situation a little bit more stable. And then I started thinking, hey, wait a minute. We can't. Starfleet can beam down. We are Starfleet. And all we need to do is reach the fans. And so I came up with this script, and I started reaching out to everybody I knew, both in election integrity spaces and in Star Trek spaces. And I was introduced to Chase by a friend of a friend, and she's been instrumental in helping to bring this all together. I literally could sit here for half an hour and talk about all the amazing things that she's done to help make this a reality. And I'm so grateful. But yeah, I started making phone calls. I wrote a script. A friend of mine put me in touch with Will Wheaton, and Will, introduced me to Gates McFadden. And then I had been in a music video a million years ago with Armin Shimmerman and Kitty Slink's nephew. It was like, and I remembered, and I was like, hey, could you maybe put me in touch with your auntie and uncle? And next thing I knew, I was corresponding with Kitty. And so it just kind of, people came, they liked what we were doing. They did their little self-tapes at home. We put it all together. Chase's video editors are amazing. I wrote some music for them, and we put them up, and the response has just been amazing. Like, the fans have just been incredible. And one of the things that is giving me so much life is watching people on social media where they'll have both been in the same training for something, and they'll tweet about it using the Trek the Vote hashtag, realize they were both in the same training and that they're both Trek the Vote fans, follow each other, and now they're having a Star Trek related conversation about their Get Out the Vote. And so this is like building solidarity among folks. And the other thing that I'm seeing is we have conservative Republicans signing up. I'd say, I'll be really honest and say we still tend to skew a little bit lefty in terms of who's showing up, but we're not a partisan organization. We absolutely welcome conservatives at this table. This is our country, and we're trying to restore some equilibrium, and we need that solidarity. So, it's just really, that's been amazing to see. It feels like it's starting to rebuild some trust with a common value system that goes in a diversity of directions politically. I hope that answered your question. You're muted, I believe.
Yeah. I just had one of my board of directors tell me that my mic was hot. He's like, dude, I can hear you breathing. So I was like, oh, all right, mute. I'm still new with this because my job skill I'm not really computer savvy. I'm learning. My 16-year-old daughter, who really wishes she was here just to see Chase, she's the one teaching me a lot of this stuff. I've got people from Australia that will remote log into my computer just to fix something that I goofed up on. So that tells you how much that is. But like she said, it's important that we get out there, we vote, and we do our constitutional civic duty, and it's an important thing. So does anybody here have any questions? Chase dropped off, or she's having an issue real quick, but do we have any questions so far before everybody bombards these two women? I know that, with you being in charge of this enormously huge organization, we've got to do something about getting you a little bit higher than an ensign, though.
Oh, me?
Yes.
Oh, no, I prefer to be in a role of service. I don't want to sit and make myself a captain or an admiral. I'm here to serve and to learn, and I think an ensign is the perfect thing for that.
What was that, Cory?
I said lower decks all the way.
Lower decks. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, well, speaking of lower decks, what did you think about the new series?
I was prepared to hate it. I do not hate it. It's not my favorite. But it has its moments, and I think this first, you have to kind of give every Star Trek season at least one to two seasons before you really, because it takes a little while to find that iteration of the franchise and really click in. Aaron's asking questions. What are the partner organizations that the website provides our contact info to? That's a really good question, Aaron, and I'm glad you asked. So here's how this works. You sign up on the form. You tell us a few things about yourself, your zip code, what kinds of things you're interested in doing. Do you want to work inside a polling place, outside a polling place? Do you want to work remotely? Do you want to be on the go? And then we run some special sauce behind the scenes and send you a mission briefing email with 3 options of volunteer opportunities we think you'd be right for. And then you decide and you go and submit your information. So we do have a database that we are holding on to. We'll probably message you again at some point, maybe once or twice before the election, maybe once or twice after the election. But this is not a mailing list that you're going to be on forever and ever where you get spammed every 5 minutes. You get to choose who you give your information to.
So how long does it take to get your first email?
To get your first, you mean to get your mission
notification? Because I've signed up earlier today and I haven't received anything.
Oh, golly.
I signed up a couple of days ago and I haven't received anything.
Well,
are you sure you're not a Starfleet International program? Because we have that problem.
That's giving me. Wow. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and talk to our chief engineer right after this call and see what's going on down in the engine room. Thank you for letting me know.
I have even used both my email addresses, one for each.
If anyone else on here has had that problem, anyone watching, please email starfleetcommand@trekThe.vote and let me know. And I'm going to make sure that we get to the bottom of this. Thank you for telling me that. I'm so sorry. It should take you less than a minute.
Well, if it's a new system, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people who have issues with it, especially the ones that are dumping whole ballot boxes full in the trash cans and being caught on video doing so.
I think we have to be really careful about making allegations like that.
I'm just talking about videos I've seen.
You're talking about.
I have friends in the security business, so.
Yeah, so let's not say that.
Let's not. I think we have to be very careful to do everything we can to only report what we absolutely know to be factually correct about what's going on with this election. Because anything that we do that undermines public confidence in the result is going to increase the likelihood of instability afterwards. And I think our priority needs to be keeping our fellow Americans safe and making sure that there isn't, the things don't get escalated.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do.
I'm doing the inside the local polling place, my polling place.
Great.
With Special Olympics already. I want to represent Starfleet.
I'm glad to hear that.
Because I already give Special Olympics about 4,000 hours of my year anyway, so.
Yeah.
As you can see, my daughter has Down syndrome, and she's a gold medalist with over 45 gold medals. So.
Oh, that's incredible. What's her sport?
Stand-up paddleboarding, equestrian, swimming, and it used to be gymnastics until we got in a car accident. She has over 35 in gymnastics.
That's a hell of an athlete that you have there. You must be very proud.
Oh, yeah. She's also an honorary member of the police department, the sheriff's office, the fire department, state, and city, and county. And she's also an honorary member of all 5 branches of the U.S. Armed Services.
And she loves me to death and never met me. I love her to death. She's so sweet.
That's fantastic.
So I have a question for you, Chase, because what was your thought when you were contacted with this? What was your initial thought about this whole organization?
First I want to say thank you for your patience. I'm sorry. I don't know why I did something wrong, I guess. And just as Kay was saying things I really wanted to hear and saying nice things, I disappeared. So sorry about that.
I'll say them all to you later again.
Thank you. Anyway, I thought that this was the most Starfleet thing that Trek fans could do. I thought how perfect a fit, how powerful an initiative that Starfleet would do exactly what Tai said, was be the people that can make a stand for democracy and for every American having their voice heard. That sounds to me like an episode of the original series.
Definitely.
Sounds, as I mentioned, exactly like something that Roddenberry would be doing if he were here. I truly believe that he would be involved in real world initiatives because the show was his way of making stands back then. And I think that Star Trek fans have always brought the show into real life and made it not just a television show, but a way to make hope for the future a tangible reality. And when I heard about this and that Tai was doing this, I jumped in immediately and have brought other actors in and am really excited and grateful about the snowball effect that's happening here. And we're just excited to see how many fans we can get on board. I hope that you will all, everyone who's out there, will go and tell your ships and tell your friends. And obviously this isn't just for Trek fans. This is everybody who might want to get involved in an initiative like this.
And our goal is to sign up 16,000 Star Trek fans. So there are 16 million Trekkies in the United States. I think we can get 0.1%. If we spread the word amongst ourselves, we can get 1 in 1,000 American Trekkies to volunteer to help other people vote. Like, that seems totally reasonable. Oh, Stephen, that's such a lovely thing to say. I admired Aaron so much and would have jumped at the chance to work with him. It was very, very sad to learn that he had passed. And I was going to say, and I'm sorry, I'm going to know the name of the gentleman before. I'm assuming gentleman, sorry, I don't want to misgender anybody, but you had said that you did sign up right after watching the video and you immediately, Aaron, great, thank you. You signed up and you have your mission brief. So thank you for letting me know. I still will go spelunking in our engine room and see if I can get down to the bottom. Oh, look, Chase, you have a fan.
Oh, that's very nice. Thank you. Hi.
So I do want to give a shout out to y'all may not. Stephen Stott here. He's our actual Inspector General for Starfleet. He's also a retired Sergeant Major. He was a regimental chaplain's assistant, excuse me. And I know he's a big fan of DS9 and stuff, so I want to give him a shout out since he's not on with us because he was too good to come on, but it's okay. We still love him. So hello, Stephen.
Hi, Stephen.
So, all right. So I have a question because if I don't ask this, a friend of mine is going to blow me up right now. He's actually watching now. What was your thought? And I'm going to shift just a little bit because I have you here because he wants me to ask you. What was your thought when you auditioned to be on DS9? What did you think? How it would go, and all the years after this, and all the fandom, and all the conventions, and all the Trekkies you have come in contact with? Did you ever see yourself going from just having a job to basically being a living legend to a lot of people?
Thank you for asking that, Steve. You know, it's actually a very timely question to go along with this conversation. When I first got on Star Trek, I did know what I was getting into, or at least I hoped I would be getting in. I auditioned for the role of Lita, and it was only supposed to be 4 lines in that one episode. And I'm grateful that they kept me for more episodes. But part of the reason that I wanted to even audition for the first one was that I knew how involved Star Trek fans were and are in the legacy of the show. I was in a class with another actor who was currently on the show, and I was not on the show at that point. And he would come to class every Monday night and say how and tell us stories about doing this powerful show and all that it meant to the fans, and then going to visit the fans, going to get to see them, meet them in person, and visit conventions all over the country, all over the world. And I thought, that is the show I want to be on. So Deep Space Nine is actually the one show that I prayed and really put it out there to be on. And it was because of this human interaction and this activity where Star Trek is not just a television show. It's not just something that people sit and watch. It's something that people do. And I'll tell you one more thing. People often ask, what is your favorite moment? Or tell us, your favorite thing. What's the best thing about being on the show? And I would have to say this. There are so many moments when people have come up at conventions and told stories such as a group of soldiers that were in the Gulf War that said that they would come back to camp and after a day out there had gathered together and watched an episode of Deep Space Nine before they even took a shower or got food. And they did that because it reminded them of home. And it reminded them of the importance of peace and the costs of war and how we can all be a part of creating justice. And whatever that means, whatever that meant to them, different things, I'm sure. But the bottom line is we can all be a part of this show. That's what the whole experience means to me. Creating a better world, creating a brighter future. It's such an honor.
So when Deep Space Nine and Voyager are my home shows, and Chase, I don't think I've told you this, but I got a lot out of Lita because she was, I was really struggling with my own body image and feeling like, very conspicuous about my own body, and also getting to this place where it was like, you can either be pretty or you can be smart, but you can't be both. And Lita was way smarter than anyone ever gave her credit for. And you put that into her. You found a way on that episode where you got 4 lines. You found a way to put enough depth into that character that they kept wanting to bring you back and flesh that out. You forced that into being inside of that show. And that was so important to me. And I know so many other femme-presenting people for whom that was also extremely important. So Lita's an icon, and you made that happen.
That is so lovely and such an honor to hear, Tay. To think that I am part of your personal experience. That means so much to me because you are a hero, and you're definitely a huge hero of mine. And I honestly, Tay, I could not be prouder to be on your team. I am so honored and proud to be working with you.
Well, let's get some more people and get them to get out there and do their thing.
Let's do it, everybody. And friendships, friendships are formed this way. And, people, I don't have to tell you this, being part of this community is a big deal. It's a wonderful thing. It's a bucket list item for so many people in life. So I'm just honored to be here, and I hope you guys will all join us, and I hope you let me know that you join us, and I hope that, I get to talk with each of you, and that Tay gets to talk with you, and that this is a really empowering process for all of us together.
Let's talk a little bit about that next, about how we all talk together, because that's kind of what's coming next for Trek the Vote. And we're still, I'll be honest and say we are an all volunteer org. So everything involving the website, everything involving anything we're developing, it takes more cycles than it would if we were all getting paid money and had developers coming out of our ears. But the goal is to actually build a mechanism by which folks can communicate with each other. So we'll have some kind of online community. It's probably not going to be inside of Facebook. I know there's a lot of folks that want to avoid using Facebook for many different reasons. And part of what we're going to be doing is talking about how we're going to approach the period between Election Day and Inauguration Day. Because, and this is not a partisan statement here, there are many nonpartisan groups that have come to the conclusion that this is going to be a rocky ride. In part because the pandemic is creating a real requirement for mail-in voting like we've never seen before. Some of our, it's going to take a while for those votes to make it all the way in. Counting is going to take a while. For example, in the state of Maryland, when they do the print at home ballots there, They actually have to take the printed home ballot that's been mailed in, and 2 poll judges, one Democrat, one Republican, have to sit down and hand transcribe that ballot onto another ballot. It takes 2 people 5 minutes to do one ballot, and they're expecting tens of thousands of those. That's just one example in one state. So we have to be a network of patience. Part of what's going to take place in the immediate days after the election is there's going to be all kinds of rushing to decide what's going to happen. And we have to be like a cooling, stabilizing balm. We just have to say we have to wait to get the facts in. We have to, make sure our election professionals have what they need to do their jobs. We have to be careful about the oversight and really, really, really try to be sober and just keep everything stable, because that's what's going to get us through. And that's going to be a conversation that we're going to have as a community of Trek the Vote volunteers. And so that's part of what's coming next. I see a question from Aaron. Any particular reason the mission brief emphasizes completing sign up with a partner within 24 hours? It's just to keep people going. What we don't want is for you to get busy and distracted and forget. What we also don't want to do is bombard you with email reminding you. So we'd really rather that you just sign up, and then it's all done, and then the partners in communication with you. Jeremy, that is a really good suggestion. We are actually looking into Discord plugins. It is one of the platforms we're considering, and I will take your thoughts into consideration there.
So, guys, remember one thing, though. When you guys are going out to vote, remember patience, because I guarantee you, anybody alive that's working these poll tables and these ballot booths, they were not alive during the last pandemic. And this is a lot of stress on the entire nation. This is a lot of stress on as a country as a whole. So be patient. If there's long lines, let me rephrase that. Don't be that type of person that's going to have to see me when I'm actually on the clock working, because it won't end well. So be positive. Take your time.
And wear a mask, please.
Wait, what do you do on the clock when you're working?
I'm a deputy.
I see. Okay.
I'm the one that goes back and leaves Tori to hold my place, and I go back and get water and pass it out.
Yeah, I don't usually talk a lot about my job too much because of the hate towards law enforcement right now. It's really strong. So I'm kind of leery about who and say, and it's just that's just how the nation is now. But remember, guys, you guys got to get out the vote. Remember social distancing. Remember your mask. You can go by Kroger, Walmart, any supercenter. You can get CVS. You can get like a 99-cent thing of hand sanitizer. Make sure you sanitize your hands. If you guys are wearing your mask and you guys have it below your nose, that's pointless. That's not helping.
Tuck it in, guys.
Yeah, I'm also a fireman, and I've been an EMT going on 6 years. I've been a fireman now 15 years. If it's below your nose, you're now, if you're around somebody that was infected, you're now infected. That's just how this is. If you have it on and you're touching your hands, all this stuff, and you're not sanitizing, and you're putting your hands inside there, that defeats the purpose too. You should just take your mask off and throw it away. But when you guys are going to the ballot booths, be patient, because this is a big ordeal. We as a nation have never had to actually deal with this. So just bear with us, and let's, as a country, let's get this together, and we should be good to go.
One thing that matters so much right now is empathy and kindness.
Mm-hmm.
And we all know how it can be when we've had someone not be kind to us. It hurts, and then it's often human tendency to just not be in a great mood to the next guy. And so it also works in reverse. If you are kind to someone, it is that much more likely that they will be kind to the next person, and that the butterfly effect will be one of empathy and kindness and goodness and patience and all of the things that we're going to need on election day and after. So I just want to say, if you doubt your ability to make a difference ever, this is a wonderful place for you. And I hope you don't doubt it. I hope you know your ability to make a difference. But there will be certainly a lot of opportunity to make a huge difference by by spreading good energy, positivity, and actually helping, as Tay said, on November 3rd and after.
Well, I don't know who remembers it, but when I was a teenager, there was the League of Women Voters. They were Democrats, Republicans, liberals, the whole 9 yards. But they went through with the electron microscope through every last single person going up, and they would every year they would release a small paper. Went to every house in this country for every election going on, and you could go through and look at their track records, and it was information we no longer get.
Yeah, League of Women Voters they're still around. They do a lot of voter registration training. I live in Seattle, and they do a lot of voter registration trainings for some of the orgs that I'm involved with here. So they're still
I
around.
haven't seen those papers come out that cover everybody running. It didn't matter, Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, the whole 9 yards. When I was a teenager, it was almost as big as one section of the LA Times, and you could go through every last single bit of it and understand what everybody's doing and what they stand for. And you can see their track record. And they cut through all the garbage for the general purpose. I mean, I know we have the internet today, and it's a great tool. The only problem is, for every search you do, you've got at least 1,000 that are possible answers that just aren't working. Because somebody was biased about something when he was putting this little article together. Where what I remember about the League of Women Voters is they were OCD about being dead on accurate, and they didn't care who they hurt.
They stuck to the facts, and they didn't embellish or impose their opinion. There is a website that's doing that very well now. It's called ballotready.org, and it really is a just the facts ma'am kind of situation. Like, they don't offer editorial, they're not making recommendations, they're just telling you enter your zip code, asks you some clarifying questions about legislative districts, and then it shows you what is on your ballot and helps you do all the research. It's very helpful. Ballot Ready, there you go.
Oh, great.
Cool.
Lovely.
Very handy.
Steve, is there a place that we could put these comments on your website or somewhere that we can refer back to see? Sorry.
So no, you're fine. This is actually live recorded, so it can be viewed at any time by going to YouTube, and it could also be, if you go to the Commander of Starfleet International Facebook page, it's also stored there.
Okay.
We're actually in the process of redoing our database, and our website's going to be changed. So we're going to try to get some of these saved and put on. Usually when we have guests on, a Trek guest, Tay, because you guys are what they call, you guys would be out of our normal people that we would have come on. So we actually have a program called Starfleet Icons, and that will be actually featured on the website, so people will be able to go and view that live.
That's great.
So do we have any questions? Because I know my phone's blowing up. So yes, Russell. Also, Russell snuck in a minute ago. He's actually he's the executive producer with me, and he does. We do the Ask Me Anything stateside, and we have an international one, and we do the Starfleet Icons and the After Dark. This is what we call our After Dark segment, and then we're actually going to be launching a new program that's going to be. It's almost, if you've ever watched. Obviously, everybody on here's watched Star Trek or been a part of it. They have the Federation News Service, and you heard that a lot in DS9 with Jake Sisko working as a reporter for Federation News Service. Well, we're going to be launching our own news program. It's going to be interviewing people in the fleet, people outside the fleet. It's going to be different segments. So a lot of that stuff, really to say, and I know it kind of sounds bad, but if it wasn't for COVID, all this stuff we have now would never even been thought of. So it's obviously the virus is a bad thing, but it is a good thing because we're able to interact on another wavelength because everybody's the conventions get canceled. They can't meet in chapters. I mean, they can, but I mean, a lot of states have changed the laws. You can't have more than 6 or more than 10, and so this is one of the good things that came from the virus is that we can still meet, still interact. We actually have a chapter in Ireland called the USS Cuchulainn, and they're sitting at 267 members, and they have Zoom meetings and get-togethers all the time, and it's the camaraderie that you get from not only be a Trek fan but being part of Starfleet. I think I've made in my 12 years of being in this organization, we have some people that's been 30 years. Kim, how long have you been in the organization?
27.
27 years. This has been around. Because I'm probably wrong. Kim, this is what? We're going on our 47th or 48th year.
Started in 74, so 40.
Yeah, so we've been around for a long time, and we're one of the oldest. And people come here because we have the love for science fiction. We have the love of, when it comes down to it, everybody's a nerd. Everybody's a sci-fi fan. And yeah, see, Kim's a major one. But it's all supposed to be fun, and I love interacting because, like John Hardy, I would never have been able to meet him unless I actually, because I'm a single father of 3, so unless I have extra cash, I would never be able to go to a convention to actually see or talk to Chase in person. So this is, it's a plus side, and I get to see a lot of new people, and this has been a blessing to reach out and talk to my members and everybody else.
We should invite her to IC 2021.
If we have it.
She came to the IC 99.
Well, that is true. You guys are more than welcome to come to IC 2021 in Tallahassee to be our guest.
That's so lovely. I might take you up on it.
Michael has a question for Chase.
I just am seeing this. Chase, are you going to do any upcoming Galaxy Star Trek events at galaxy.com? I don't know. I think I did GalaxyCon a couple weeks ago, and it is true that one nice thing lately is that we are able to convene with people in ways that we hadn't before because conventions are now online. So I hope if I do that I see you there. I want to apologize for not having looked in the chat yet. I just wanted to stay focused on this conversation, but I see so many wonderful comments, and I'm gonna look at these at least later when I have my glasses on.
I didn't even realize there's a whole other tab. You can see what everyone's saying.
Yeah.
I've only been seeing the ones that popped up on the screen.
Usually we have we'll have anywhere between 30 and 60 people view us, and then later on we'll have when we had Doug Drexler on, I looked at the Facebook analytics there. It reached close to 3,000 people in less than 48 hours. So we I guess you could say we broadcast and try to get out there as much as possible because when I ran for office, because it's kind of funny, people laugh at me now, but it's kind of funny now. I ran on the principle of we are sci-fi fans, but at the end of the day, we are a family. We are a giant family of sci-fi friends. And if it wasn't for a lot of these people, like my where I live, and I'll bring this up because this really, really caught me off guard. Where I live, there's some people that moved in that do not like law enforcement. And they had slashed all the tires on my brand new car. And so, of course, my deductible was $1,000. Well, being a single parent of 3 kids, I don't have $1,000 just laying around. And so I was going to work, and I happened to get a notification that, hey, the Commander Starfleet, International is live on Facebook. Well, I pulled over on the cruiser to look at it, and the entire organization chipped in and put money together to help me get tires. It's not something I asked, but it shows you the type of things, how close we are. And yeah, that's one thing. It's a big difference when you have just a regular fan club you with, and when you actually have people that are like family. And granted, we are a dysfunctional family. We even have Wayne. This is Wayne's first time here. He'll tell you it's all pretty dysfunctional. But if anybody you've ever needed to talk to, anybody that has a teenage daughter has had moments where like, oh my goodness, what am I doing? There's been several times I've called and talked to Drew. I've called and said, hey, I need some friendly advice because all my kids should have been boys. Ooh.
Scream.
So,
I mean, I don't know. I've met some teenage boys who are hellions, so I'm not gonna. Let's not let's not put all of the.
My son, as long as he has his Xbox, Dr. Pepper, and pizza pockets, the earth could be coming down around him, and a meteor can hit right in the front room. He'd still be playing Call of Duty.
All I'm saying is, it's not what the gender is. I think people's personalities are what they are.
Yeah, I'll agree to that. That is definitely. What is this?
And Steve, I just want to say that I want to express empathy for what happened to you with your tires. There's never ever any excuse for violence, and
Not okay.
No.
I hope that no matter what happens, in the coming weeks, if things flare up again, I hope that you are safe and that you feel safe.
Oh yeah.
Our hearts are with you on that.
And the sad thing is, a couple of days later, after it was all fixed and done, I found out who did it, and I went over and talked to them, and I said, look, because they moved from Wisconsin down here, and I said, so I'm just going to tell you like this. I said, I'm not going to press charges, but it's your right as a constitutional right to act out. But I said, not slashing somebody's tires. I said, I understand you don't like cops. I understand. But I said, I'm a father. I said, I've got kids I have to take care of. I said, so as long as we don't, and he's like, and his thing was, I was drinking. I wasn't thinking. I'm really sorry. And, we sat down to a nice long conversation, and we've been peaceful since then. So it's just, you never know.
Cool. That's really cool.
It really took a lot because.
Did he give you any money?
No, he didn't give me any money. That would have been nice, so I could start paying back some of the SFI members. But I mean, I sat down and I heard about his story, and I started hearing about his life. And he lost a brother to a police action, and so he's got some extreme hatred. And I told him, I said, not all cops are the same. Just you've got a few bad apples that make the whole bunch look bad. Like me and Wayne are both firemen. I've been a fireman 15 years. Wayne's going, I think, on 20. Even firemen were getting attacked in the riots, and they were busting the windows out of the apparatuses, and they were, shooting at the fire trucks. And it's just, as a nation, we're hurting so bad. They're acting out. They don't really know where to act it out at. They're doing it with anybody with any type of authority. And I tell people, I said, one bad cop makes all of us look horrible. And I said, but I sat down with him. I said, man, I'm not a bad guy. I said, I'm not racist by far, because in the neighborhood I live at is primarily African-American. And my kids have spent the night there. Their kids have spent the night here. We've had block parties. And I mean, you got to remember that one certain bad apples are not the whole bunch. And he sat there and seen that, and he understood, and he apologized. And so it was a touching thing. Kind of, my daughter's like, and you didn't kill him, Dad? I'm like, I didn't kill him. And if anybody, the other two here know about my daughters. I've got a 9-year-old who is extreme daddy's girl. She's my princess. And I've got a teenager who I just found out about when she was 16. I didn't know about her. And long story short with her, she was in a situation where a person of authority over her had touched her. And I got custody of her. So she's very, very protective of me. And she was ready to come across the street, and she stands about 6 foot. She's only 16, and she's built like a linebacker. So it was quite comical. But at the end of the day, like I said, we're all family here, and even out here, from Seattle, even people that's not here, it's sci-fi fans. We're all family today.
Yeah, you talk about a few bad apples, and I have a lot of friends who would be on the other side of that statement. But what I will say is, I think more than anything, our systems do not set police officers up for success. I think that we live in a country with so many guns that when you are walking around out there, anyone can have a gun at any time, and that's got to be scary. Like, that's got to be legitimately terrifying to think that at any moment any person could have a firearm and that it's your job to have to interface with that. So I have a lot of compassion for that. I also, we live, like, regardless of whether any of us is or is not racist, like, I'm working on my own racism. That is an ongoing project for me as a human being. But I think that we live in a country where there are a lot of racist systems, and I think that policing is no exception to that. I don't think that hating on individual human beings and slashing people's tires, which just is not okay, is, the right answer. I think we need to be having conversations, and I also think we need to be looking at how we make our systems set people up to be successful and not have lethal altercations with each other. I think that's really, really important.
So well said, Tay. And I want to add to that. It sounds like, Steve, it sounds like you really were handling this in an exemplary manner. Having a conversation is something that very few people even would know how to do, much less actually do it under those circumstances. So it sounds like you approached it in a beautifully open-hearted manner. And, I really want to echo something that Tay said about the systems that are set up to fail us. But one thing that we can always count on is that if we approach things with inclusiveness and empathy, really putting each other really putting ourselves in each other's shoes, then the world can start to work. We can have a world where we can all live long and prosper.
It's one thing that, it's infinite diversity and infinite combinations. So everybody is made in their own image. There's nothing, and it's people. We gotta move on, and we got to get this nation back on track. So that's the main thing is get out and vote. Exercise your constitutional right. It is your constitutional right. Don't let anybody tell you can't vote.
Especially.
What, ma'am?
Well, the last pandemic, women didn't even have the right to vote. And this is the anniversary of women getting the right to vote. So it's all the women that suffered to get you that right. I know women that won't vote. They just say, why bother? I'm like, people suffered so you could vote.
The suffragettes worked long and hard to get women to vote.
That whole force feeding, ugh.
Yeah. Well, and then it took Black women a fair piece longer, time, and not all the suffragettes were, on board with Black women getting to vote. So that's even newer. That's not even 100 years in the making.
Right.
So, like, we really have to make sure that we have the back of that suffrage there and really carry that forward.
It's also really important that in times that are like this, when we can really turn the tide and create beautiful change. It's really important to remember that any one of us could have been born at any time, anywhere, in any color skin, in any socioeconomic background, to any set of parents, in any circumstance that could have given us much less privilege than we have. And who's to say I don't know any of you well, and you don't know me, but if we have a camera and Wi-Fi, chances are we're doing better than some people are. And so it's just so important to really approach these things as Tay was saying, in empathy and kindness, and realize that we really have some great things going for us, like the right to vote, and we want to make sure that if we were born in those shoes, someone would be standing up for us too, right?
Yeah, I think it was the last time they voted for the Black vote to be maintained was in the 1970s. Historically, the Senate and the House had to approve, and instead of for another 10 years, they said, no, we'll just let them have it now from here on out. That's sad.
That's in our lifetimes, at least
Right.
mine. Yeah, I'll say it right now. That's you know.
You and I are from the same year, dear.
Well, I don't know about that.
Ditto.
But
According to the birthdays I've read.
Okay, we digress. The bottom line is, it's so exciting to be able to be on the relative forefront of this type of justice and this type of inclusion, and all that it's going to mean to so many people. It's a really wonderful new era where we're getting to see more Star Trek.
Yeah,
place in the world.
And we as fans need to show that reality is possible.
Yeah.
Of all inclusion. Of all inclusion. Oh yeah, definitely
Partly
we have.
To, and partly we get to. Partly
So-
justice is fun, and kindness and
Let me ask
empathy
you
is
two.
fun.
Since we were talking about more Star Trek and stuff, I know I've talked to the other people. Let me ask you two ladies this. What do you guys think so far of Discovery and Picard?
Well, like I said, I try to give every Star Trek series at least 2 seasons to find its footing, because every series needs to find its own voice within a franchise that has so many previous expectations on it. And I think that Discovery, what's hard for me is that there aren't one-off episodes in either of those series. It's not like this is the one with that one species. You remember, or like Trouble with Tribbles and Trials and Tribulations. Like everyone has a very crystal clear memory of which one that was. I think the only episode of Picard that I could remember by name is Nepenthe, and that's because for me, narratively, it was the highlight of the season when we got to see what Counselor Troy and Captain Riker were up to, and we got to see that just the beautiful warmth and affection between Picard and Troy and Riker. To the point where, like, I was watching this one scene with my husband. Riker and Picard are sitting down on the dock and they're practically cuddling. And he's like, oh my God, we don't see heterosexual men being physically affectionate with each other like this in our society. And it's so beautiful. We were both just like all of a dither about it. So they're having really good moments. I just wish that they would take a little page out of the 90s Trek book, or maybe watch what the Orville's doing with balancing these big season-long arcs with one-off episodes that tell contained stories. Because I don't think they're quite hitting that yet. I am so excited for Discovery season 3, though. I'm leaving on a big trip next week. I'm going to be in Washington D.C. for about a month, and then traveling back across the country home, driving in a van. And I plan to download every episode of Discovery wherever I am, and like have that be my treat for after something crazy happens. So I'm really, really excited to watch that and see what happens 1,000 years in the future.
Great stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tay. I really love Discovery. I haven't always understood exactly where they were going with it, but I really love Sonequa Martin Green. I think she's a very powerful actress. I love Doug Jones and Shazad Latif. I really like that cast very much. And just to let you know, from this point of view, they're all incredibly lovely people. Yeah, Ethan Peck and Anson Mount, I think they do a beautiful job, beautiful work. I'm excited for season 3. I've seen every episode, so that's exciting. It's the only show I've seen every episode of, actually, other than Deep Space Nine. So I'd say that. And I love how inclusive it is. Picard, I haven't seen much, only one episode, but it's super gosh, there's more Star Trek now than there ever has been with those two shows and Lower Decks, and then the announcement about Kate.
I know. Oh my God.
This is a very hot period of time. So
sorry, I literally like died today just when I found that out about the new show. Oh my God, so cool.
It's really intense.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of time to watch a lot of shows, but because of Pop Culture Hero Coalition, I spend most of my time all year, all 8 years now, working on that, which I'd love to talk with you all about some other time. But yeah, it is worth traveling through one of the shows, and I look forward to more.
So do we have any questions for our guests? Because I know that their time is limited, of course, and we don't want to keep them all night. Do we have any questions for the lovely ladies here?
When we log off, I am going to look in the chat.
Oh, and I just wanted to say, Alex and Alex Rosenweig and Sarah Rosenweig, I'm seeing your messages, and I will find a way to follow up with you. I do appreciate your offer. Thank you.
I wish I could read all these now. Thank you. Gosh, you guys are so sweet. Teresa, and that really means a lot. Thank you.
So I hope we can get you guys back on. It's always great to interact with the outside Trek Ward, of course, because we have a lot of members that are, of course, are elderly or sickly. They cannot travel, and I know that they will love being able to see and talk stuff about people that's interacting with this. And this is a big thing here, and I really appreciate you guys taking the time to come out and talk with us.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having both of us. It's really fun.
So, do we have anything else? Anybody on the panel have anything else?
I just wanted to.
I'm sorry.
I just wanted to echo what Paul said on the chat, and thank you both for having been here tonight.
Yeah, it's been a real pleasure.
It has been. It's always really great to talk with people who get Star Trek in every way, who really understand what this show is about. So, Starfleet, thank you for being who you are and for the inspiration that you give us. And again, Tay, thank you so much for creating this truly wonderfully Star Trek project. And I look forward to seeing where it goes. And I look really hopefully forward to working with you all on it.
I hope that everybody takes the time to at least go look at the site. It's trekthe.vote. You can get on it on Facebook and Instagram, and Twitter. I actually just found them on Twitter, and I'm following them under the CS account. So, get involved. You don't have to vote Republican or Democrat. You just get involved and cast your vote how you see fit.
We adhere to the Prime Directive with Trek the Vote, right? We are putting aside our individual preferences or feelings about the outcome to focus on a fair and equitable process, because that's what this country is about. And so we welcome people from all different political backgrounds. As long as you're ready to show up and be part of the Prime Directive, we're here.
Beautifully said, Kay.
I remember my drill instructor used to say very clearly, it's not about you, it's about us.
Orale.
We are all 100% answerable to ourselves. So give everybody the chance to answer honestly. So, which is another reason why I like Trek. I met Gene Roddenberry when I was a teenager, and he struck me as the same kind. So
that's cool.
Wow, I know, jealous.
Oh, I my first degree was in cinematography. I went to USC, UCLA, and we did some work at Paramount, and I ran into him.
God, that's cool.
That is cool.
Yeah. I've met everybody but William Shatner, and from what I understand, it wasn't that much of a loss.
Oh,
Calm down now. We like Bill. We do like Bill.
Well, I understand that he can be.
He blocked me on Twitter.
He can be snippy.
So everybody that's out there, when you go to the website, it's trekthevote.com. You'll come up right here. There's the video for you to play. Talks a little bit about the history. You can join Starfleet. Come down here. It'll ask you some simple questions. You can even pick what rank you want to be. They don't have Fleet Admiral. Thank God there's only one of me.
Yeah, no kidding.
You can find them on Facebook, Twitter, and you can email them. And it talks a little bit about their partners they have. They've got Fair Count, Election Protection, Power of the Polls, and Poll Hero. And then you've got some other information here. This website is full of a lot of information. It's very well put together. And then you can get down here and you'll meet the Federation Council, of course. And if you pay close attention, there's a lot of what we call Trek legends involved in this. So it's definitely a well put together site. Lots of information. And see, there's Tay right there. See, you got a smile, Tay.
Founder, not that kind.
Founder, yep.
Chase, you rolled over Chase.
No, I did I? I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
No.
There.
Yeah,
Oh,
no, Chase is
there.
Okay, it's okay. It's all right.
Steve, could I share something real quick after you do that?
Absolutely, ma'am. Go ahead.
Just to make sure I don't mess this up.
Oh, don't mess it up.
I'm trying not to. Let me try it again. You know me and sharing screens.
No
I
comment.
always find a way to mess it up.
That's why we love you.
There it is. There. Is it sharing?
Yep.
That was in 94.
Aw. Oh, lovely. Thank you for sharing that. That's so nice.
Look at that baby face. And my son, too. You had the baby face. He was 9 years old, and he followed you so much. And I had to say, Matthew, you're going to stalk her. He goes, but Mom, she touched my cheek. She's so beautiful.
Thank you for sharing that. That's so sweet.
And see, guys, it doesn't matter how old you get. Your mom will always embarrass you. Trust me, it happens.
That's one of my favorite pictures.
I'm almost 40 years old, and my mother embarrasses me every minute she gets. She gets out the purse, and all these photos start falling down. And she's like, "My baby boy." I'm like, "I'm gonna burn that purse." So, do we have any other
questions? Can I show
questions?
them ours, Chase?
Yes, please. Yeah, show Mars, Tay.
Okay, so I'm gonna see if I can do this without. Oh wow. No, technically this is way more complicated than I thought it was gonna be. Chase and I met each other at CES in 2007, and she was like hurrying. She was making a beeline across a ballroom in some casino somewhere, and I saw her and I was like, "Oh my God, it's Lita!" And I stopped having a conversation mid-sentence, ran after her, and she's clearly busy. She was so nice to me, and so it was all these years later to actually get a chance to work with you on this. It's really neat.
Tay, the honor is mine. The honor and the privilege. Thank you so much. I remember that too.
You
I
do?
remember that at CES. Yes, I do. Yeah.
You were it was I was being annoying. I can be really I was being I was being a fan. I was like, oh my God, what is happening right now?
So sadly, you, Lita, good Lord, Chase, you're actually the first one I've met from DS9. I've met a few next generation people. It was kind of awkward, I guess, to see him in an airport. But I actually met Bill Shatner. He actually owns a horse farm here in Kentucky. And I was out that way, and I was doing a transport, and I was at a gas station, and I had to do a double take from him. I was like, "Hey, excuse me." I said, "Would you be TJ Hooker?" And he starts laughing. He's like, "Well, most people call me Captain Kirk." I was like, "Well, I figured I'd go with TJ Hooker before I would Captain Kirk. I know you both." And he laughed, and he was really nice. I have a photo somewhere around here of me and him while I was in uniform, and he's a great guy. He's definitely he's serious, but he's always got that smile on his face. He always got that hand in his pocket. So it was good. It was good to run into him. So at least now I can say I met one DS9 character. So I now feel proud.
Well, that's very nice. And I'll just bring it home by saying it's really nice to know when you can make a difference. It's nice to know that I've made a difference in your lives, even a little tiny bit. And that's part of why we're so excited about working with you all, which is that we can make a difference together. So it's the most Star Trek thing we can do, and I'm really excited about it.
Now, I can't be like Tay because obviously she's younger than I am. So if I get too excited, my blood pressure goes up and I have to go get my medication. So I can't get too excited because not too long ago I had a stint in the hospital because blood pressure medicine. But I feel her enthusiasm because I grew up, watching The Next Generation, and then I thought that was it, and then DS9 comes on, and it's based on a space station. It's not trekking across the universe, and it was basically, it was just every episode was different. I related a lot to Odo, because my grandfather was law enforcement, and he was so strict, and he reminded me of Odo. And then it was first time that a black man was finally in a lead role in Star Trek, and Avery Brooks knocked that out of the park. He was awesome, and I really loved how they brought Michael Dorn into it and was able to get him from The Next Generation in there, and for it not being based on a ship per se. Yeah. I think the DS9 was probably one of its best, better, if not best, series, because it's
my favorite.
Granted, The Next Generation, Voyager, Enterprise, that's all wonderful because they're all on a ship and they all go do other things. But it doesn't show like the lives and the get-togethers and the fellowship. You don't really see that a lot. You've seen it some on some of the series, but DS9 really hit it a lot better, and it's definitely was one of the better series.
Well, with DS9, because you had a space station, you had this sort of rotating cast of recurring characters that could be so much more fleshed out because spatially you were in, you're in this particular sector, and so you could get the depth of, the Kai of Bajor and Gul Dukat and the specific Dominion characters, and that was something that Voyager couldn't do. You couldn't have a semi-recurring character on Voyager unless it's Q, right? Because otherwise, what are you going to do? And I think that was narratively, it gave DS9 a leg up. It gave the writers more to do, and it created a more realistic and three-dimensional universe.
Very well said. The other shows, they would boldly go somewhere else. They would boldly go and explore or whatever it was. We boldly went into ourselves, into our psyches, into our relationships, into each other.
Like a little frontier town.
And see, I really think that they left the very final episode of DS9. I really think they left it open to, what happens. Can they bring Cisco back? Can they do this? I think they really left it open. I really wish it would have gone another couple of seasons, but of course, all things have to come to an end eventually. So,
did you guys see the little Easter egg in Picard though?
No, which was it?
There's a billboard for Cassidy Yates Shipping and Freights.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Know the Cassidy lived long and prospered, which is very important, really. Crucial.
Nice.
I didn't even see that. That's kind of horrible. I feel bad.
They had a Quarks too, didn't they?
What's that?
I saw a Quark sign too in Picard.
Oh, great! Awesome.
Yeah. There's
also Quark.
So do we have
your Russell had a comment about the show being ahead of its time. We'll look at the comments later, if that's okay. But yeah, definitely ahead of its time. And geez, I'm squinting. Yeah, thank you all for your comments. This is it's wonderful to hear your thoughts.
So do we have any final questions before we wrap her up?
Thank you so much.
I hope you guys will come back. I hope you guys come on and talk again before the election day. It'd be nice to have you guys back up here. Tonight we were joined with Tai Phoenix of TrekTheVote.com. Excuse me, TrekTheVote. Mother blank.
TrekThe.com.
We'll take you there.
Vote.
There.
Okay.
So,
read it along the bottom there.
Yes,
No, it's TrekThe.vote. TrekThe.vote or TrekTheVote.com. They both work.
Yes, Tai Phoenix for the founder, not that type of founder of the organization. Thank you, Chase Masterson, who is also a
icon.
Thank
goddess.
you. Yes.
Legend,
goddess, whatever. That's fine too.
No, a friend, and I'm honored to be your friend. And thank you all so much.
And thank you guys for coming on. Thank you to the board members who took it upon their night to come on. I know a couple of them are really late for them where they're at. John, dude, you're a vampire. You're up all hours. You never sleep. So it's always a pleasure to see you back on here. Kim, thank you for doing an outstanding job and helping Justin with his, since he had technical issues. I know Justin appreciates it. And of course, my favorite little gunny down there, Drew, thank you for coming on and taking part in this. And thank you for the two. Thank you to Justin and to Russell for being the hardworking people.
Hey, Russ.
If you guys do not know, this guy here is probably about the hardest working person in our organization right now.
Other than the CS, maybe.
Yeah, he's
and
doing
my
everything
regional coordinator.
Between audio, video stuff. He's making videos and stuff for our our regional summits online because we're not meeting in person this year. So thank you all for coming on. And hopefully we'll get you guys back on again, and we can actually have more time to actually broadcast it. We'll get some more people on here. We might try a different platform. We might try Zoom and see if we can get that to work a little bit better.
Well, Icons uses Zoom, so
there you go.
Wonderful.
So,
Hey, Steve, could you leave it on for a second after everybody goes so that I can take a look at the comments? And
yes, ma'am. So what I'll do is I'll end the broadcast. I'll end it. Just stay here. Don't click out of it. Okay.
Okay. All right.
All right. So, members of the fleet, thank you for coming on. Trek After Dark number 34. Of course, remember, stay safe. Remember social distancing. Wear your mask. We've had 4 COVID deaths, and I had to announce in 54 days. We don't want no more of that. Please stay safe. And at the end of the day, remember, live long and prosper.
Peace and long life.
Thank you all.